Welcome to this edition of Quaker State Shop Talk. I'm here with Regan Smith, driver of the Quaker State Chevrolet number 7 for Tommy Baldwin Racing. And Regan, I think a question a lot of fans always want to hear from a Sprint Cup Series driver: how old were you and how did you get your start in racing?
Well, I was pretty young, so I was 4 and a half the first time that I got on the racetrack, and it was only test and practice, and I wasn't allowed to go out and actually race. They wanted me to wait until I was all of 5 years old before I got to start racing, and it was basically quarter midgets is essentially what it was. It was a microd. It's a different series in upstate New York, but it looks just like a quarter midget for those who don't know what a microd is. And you know, from that point on, I just continued on with it. Figured out at a pretty young age that I wasn't going to have the height to shoot a basketball, or that I couldn't even hit a baseball off a tee. So I knew that wasn't going to be in the cards for me. So it was pretty much racing from the start, and just progressed through different series, different levels, and worked my way on up through.
Did you ever? When did you feel like it became a reality that I might actually drive in NASCAR? I might actually drive a Sprint Cup Series car?
I don't know when that became a reality. That probably didn't actually become a reality until it happened, until you got that opportunity, and I was probably at least 23, 24 years old at that point. The point where I knew, hey, this is what I want to do for a living, and I'd like to try and make a career out of this, was probably right around 13 or 14 years old. Up until that point, it's what we did on the weekends as a family. We went to the racetrack. It was the same thing as maybe a kid playing Pop Warner football or ice hockey or something along those lines. Our family traveled together. We did that. That was our vacations. That was our time, to do whatever. And it was every weekend was spent doing that at the racetrack. But up until about 13 and 14, and then it got a little more serious.
You're one of the drivers that can say that you've won races in the Xfinity Series, but you're also a driver that can say, I won the Darlington Southern 500. What does that even sound like, Regan Smith, Southern 500 winner?
It almost still doesn't seem real, and I say that having the trophy's got my face on it. It's one
with all those other faces.
It's one of the most unique trophies in our sport, because it's got every face that's ever won the race. You're talking, legends, Cal Yarborough, Bobby Al, all these guys that are just, you put them up on a pedestal, and they're all around this trophy, and then here you get to me, and it's my face is on there too. So, you almost got to pinch yourself every time you think of it, and when you start this stuff, you don't know, and I think sometimes we take it for granted. There's guys that can go out and win 80, 90 races, but you don't know if you're going to get that first win, if you're going to be in the situation, and there's thousands of drivers that are plenty talented enough to go out and win races in the Cup Series in the right situation. And you just never know. So to at least have been able to get that one and experience that one, and especially after a couple years prior to that, what happened in Talladega, thinking I had gotten a win, and then
I still say you won that race.
I agree 100% with you on that one, but that kind of made it all the more sweeter, and made it even a little bit nicer. Okay, I don't have to go. If this is the only one I get, or if I get 10 more after this, I at least don't have to have that question in my mind of what could have been or what should have been.
So you're racing in the Sprint Cup Series, and then you go back to the Xfinity Series, and you're winning races, contending for a championship in that series, and now you're back in the Sprint Cup Series this year in 2016 with Tommy Baldwin Racing. This deal actually came together very late in the game.
Yeah, I think it was basically 2.5 weeks before, 2.5, 3 weeks before Daytona when it came together, and Tommy just kind of reached out and said that he had an opening, and I said, hey, let's go race. I'm looking for something to do. At the time, I had a couple Xfinity things here and there lined up, but nothing solidified that was going to be long term or really see me in a race car a lot. And I was excited when I got the call, and I think for me the coolest part about it was I'd forgotten how much fun the Cup Series was from a standpoint of the length of the races, the grind of the season, and the weekends, and how they kind of piece together and how they go. And as a competitor, there is a different feeling to the Sunday racing over the Saturday racing. They're both equally as important. I think we all want to go out and win races in both of them. It doesn't matter what drivers you ask. But the Sunday races just have a different feel to the flow of them and how the whole weekend goes.
Yeah. Well, that's an edition of Get to Know Regan Smith and Quaker State Shop Talk.